was feeling good. I do remember. Again, because of the cracked tooth and the antibiotics and everything, I ended up doing a dry January. So it was February. So me and my wife went to our local favorite bar, Bottlenecks, little sports bar out by us, dive bar. I love it. Miss all of you, by the way, if anyone's watching. And um, yeah, uh, that was, we had a couple drinks. Again, I'm not a daily drinker, but I do occasionally, um, like to guess, I guess would be qualified as binge drinking, 5, 6 or more beers. um, so yeah, that Monday, like I said, as I was feeling mostly normal at that point, um, I got the call, and yeah, they said, yeah, you got something. It was if I pronounce it wrong, anterior mediastinal mass, and they set me up to see a pulmonary specialist, and then I talked to my functional guy, and he set me up with an oncologist. Um, so that was Monday. I saw both of them by Wednesday and Thursday. Um, and it was like, yeah, okay, you got something. It's that right out of the story of what you think, um, where um, you know, it really wasn't feeling that terrible. There was something, but I just thought it was bronchitis. Um, Also got set up to meet with a heart surgeon specialist. Um, Now, what happened the next day? Again, we had just dried it had just unfrozen. People. No, that was a month ago. Oof, forgetting things. Um, at like 10, 11 o'clock at night, I didn't feel right. Um, Chest was hurting pretty bad. Couldn't sleep well. I took my blood pressure. Blood pressure was elevated. I don't remember exactly what. I think it was like 160 over 100, which that's pretty elevated. You go 135 or 95. I'm not as concerned, but 160 over 100 was something. I checked the EKG, and um, it said abnormal. So I told my wife, and we got in the car and we went to the emergency room. Um, Again, my experiences with emergency rooms, a lot of times sit around and wait. I, 10 years ago, I had left arm pain, which is always the hallmark of heart attack. I went into the emergency room, I took my vitals. I sat there for like 2 hours, never saw a doctor. Finally, the pain went away, and I ended up getting my heart checked. But that was, again, another story. This time we went, and actually, they brought me in, um, took my vitals, took an EKG, told them what the issue I had was. They brought me to the back. I think we were there a total of 4 hours. They actually gave me another CT scan. My doctor told me, we checked your blood and you're not having a heart attack. Um, that was all before. So already you can see this pressure is going on. So um, then I see the doctors. They had all conferred. Um, and at that point, um, they determined it was not operable. This mediastinal, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sure everyone listening is ears are cringing. Mass. Um, the CT scan, you get to see the reports. It had it at uh, 8.7 by 5 point, so at least is the words the radiologist used, which is about three, metric is wrong, it's in centimeters. It's about 3.2. So you're talking like, think about an inhaler, if you know what that one. I actually had the one from one thing, so that was it. What was in my chest, I couldn't take deep breaths. Um, those first 2 weeks of of February, I was in really bad shape. In fact, when we left the emergency room, um, I I couldn't walk to the car. I had to, my wife, and I like to walk. I typically try to get 10,000 or more steps a day. I actually have the data. I'm Fitbit for 5, 6 years now. Um, Again, that's part of my prescription now is to at least get 12,000 steps a day. But yeah, I couldn't walk to the car, 100, 200 feet away. Uh, I had to lean up. I almost was going to go back into the emergency room after being told, "Yeah, you're fine. Just go get some rest." Yeah, then I saw the doctors. Um, that first full week, the three doctors, they determined it was not operable. So at this point, it was time um, to get a PET scan. So PET scan is they inject you with radioactive sugar. Uh, the part I skipped, which will be a big part of a separate video, is I started fasting. As soon as I heard I had anything, February 5th, I've been fasting. So by the next week, I'm 7 days into a fast. By the PET scan on February 14th, if I got that right, um, it was, I was 11 or so days into fasting. So I went from not being able to really having difficulty standing and peeing and basically existing between my couch, my home office, and my bed to after fasting 14, 15, I'm feeling better and better every day. I can actually show that another time. My Fitbit giving me, how many steps per day. You can see a ramp up. Um, the PET scan, and again, I'm still shocked how no oncologists, no doctors, when someone has cancer, they don't immediately tell them to cut down on starchy carbs and do something with their glucose. All of the alternative stuff, all of the metabolic stuff, it's all like don't feed the cancer, and its big one is sugar, and that's your blood glucose, right? So alcohol, bread, potatoes, Kit Kats, all turns in your blood, in your body to glucose. And that's feeding the sugar. And I need a doctor to explain to me why they don't do that. Um, that is disturbing. Now, I do remember, like, I had not eaten anything, and I even asked how many calories are the sugar that they put in. And that did knock me out the next day. I did feel it. So like I said, as I was improving at this point, I was in bad shape, and it's hard to remember now. You know, being bold is a big one. So week later, um, again, now I've started to lose significant weight. Now we're on the week of the 19th. I've gone from 292 to 265. Um, 16 days into my fast. I've lost about 25 pounds. So, um, I'm doing much better. I can breathe deep again. Um, this is 3 weeks in. Um, we get the results from the PET scan, and this is where I'm told I have Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, I didn't, at this point, I haven't done any research. All I have done is I've been fasting for 4 plus 25 days, I'm down to 261. This is February 22nd. And I'm informed that there were 4 possible cancers I could have in this area based on what they saw. And um, my oncologist said he did a fist bump because I guess of the options, it was the best prognosis. So a lot of this still hasn't sunk in, and that's why I'm taking the time. Um, at this point, he's like, here's the recommended course: chemotherapy, 6 months, um, 12 treatments, one every 2 weeks. And I was like, well, I need time to decide on this, doc. He's like, oh, sure, take all the time you need, but let's meet again Monday, and I got you set up to start chemo on Thursday which at this point was February 29th. So I needed more time. I moved my appointment to that Thursday, and I ended up delaying probably my chemo for 3 weeks. And I think I've talked about that before on my decision to do chemo. So um, that's really the whole story on how I found out that I had cancer and what I had. And again, I really went into that office preparing to hear, and I've I've now also found out it's stage 4A. So it's no minor thing. It's an aggressive form, but as I've talked before, I have a very good prognosis. I am doing a lot of alternatives. I'll talk about those in detail. But yeah, that's pretty much the story. Uh, Let me know what you think. Take care, everybody.